I swear I watched Dead Mount Death Play for the plot, but even I sometimes have a hard time convincing myself that when you get shower scenes with Sayo and Misaki, but damn if this show's world building and characterization isn't actually superb. But honestly, you could show a lot of scenes from a lot of episodes, and I think people will be peeping Dead Mount Death Play for another reason. If anything, you have to hand it to the anime because you know damn well that shower scene alone is going to propel a volume of the Blu-ray by itself, because it's not even like they kind of alluded to them being naked. No, they had them, they just had the blur there, so you know that's being removed for the DVD and Blu-ray release ASAP. But damn, man, Dead Mount Death Play be getting spicy, but hey, they also are actually revealing quite a lot, and honestly, the mystery of that symbol is actually really engaging. Now, I do have a full live reaction to episode 10 of Dead Mount Death Play available on my Patreon if you're interested, so if you do want to see my full uncut thoughts, you can head on over there and consider supporting. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things that are actually really engaging about this episode, and one of my favorite points is it's a really small moment, and it's at the very beginning of the episode. It's with Solitaire and how he buys his information at this very interesting jail where basically the price of something is based on the amount something should cost, but in relation to the amount of wealth you'll kind of get over the course of your lifetime. So in the case of, well, you want to know about this symbol, that's basically, he's like, hey, your entire life's worth, over time, it will probably be 6 trillion, right? So because you want information on something and you know this symbol is more than a fairy tale, we have to increase the price, but then we also have to make it basically half of your net worth over the course of your entire life. And the way he explains it as if someone just randomly came in, it's entirely possible it could be a single yen, because they might look at it as a fairy tale and they just don't have an insane net worth over time. And I think those little moments is what I really love from this author, and how it just makes a world feel so much more complex than just writing it as, here's this mysterious merchant, you pay him a ridiculous amount of money, he info dumps a bunch of stuff. Instead, he's like, no, this symbol, it means a hell of a lot for this world, so you best pay up, and obviously no one's going to pay that amount, so Solitaire ends up taking matters into his own hands as seen by the blimps, and instead of paying information on the symbol, he pays for basically a shit ton of blimps in order to start spreading the message and basically ruffling a few feathers. Those little moments actually really do flex just how good the characterization, the world building, or the individual plot important moments are, because this merchant didn't really have to be all that important outside of dropping info, but instead, he, in doing so by almost hiding that information behind a ridiculous paywall, makes it so it's really damn impressive, but also has you questioning if this symbol is so important in Corpse God's world, and somehow it's here, and basically people who know it, seemingly get assassinated for that knowledge, or at least they attempt to. It has you questioning, did someone come from his world over here and then some of that info got transported over? Are they actually one world, not two? There's a lot of uncertainty, and seriously, man, the first minute of this episode, when honestly, I thought I was in Serial Experiments Lane for a minute, the way they were glitching with all the threats and messages popping up, the fact that this dude says, don't give them, this torture-filled death, just get it over with so we know they won't spread the information. It's god damn. The show ain't playing. But what was nice with Sayo, who we know, Uncle Polka, right? So she seemingly is a bit weird. I mean, her obsession with sharks is just an obsession for something. That's not really the weird thing. It's more so just how she responds to so many situations. And I love the fact that once the information gets thrown in her face of hey, because Corpse God's just trying to make her freak out so that she just won't believe him and she'll storm out. And instead, she's like, sure, that might make sense. I'm gonna go shower now. Not knowing that Uncle Polka's in the shark, and man, did he catch way more than he was anticipating. But I love the fact that when she gets revealed that, hey, you kind of stripped naked in front of a family member, the reason she's upset isn't because of that. She's now just can I be in the shark body? How about he gets my body and I'll go in the shark body? This girl is absolutely obsessed with these sharks, but what was nice about that entire shower scene is that in the middle of the most fan servicey moment ever, I mean, you can't argue them pressing up against each other naked, or the amount of flirtatious, almost grabbing the face and pulling it in moments isn't there to, at the very least, attempt to arouse the viewers. That's what they were trying to do. The difference between a scene like that in a lot of shows is they actually had an important conversation the entire time. So someone like Misaki, who started the series off wanting to kill herself because she viewed herself as a horrible person, right? How could I kill anyone without a second thought? So she tries to kill herself and then pretty much immediately gets forgiven by the person who she attempted to kill, or actually did kill, but now is trapped in this stuffed animal's body. So the idea of almost wanting to be punished, basically thinking she's this horrible person, but now is almost getting this second chance. She's almost trying to throw that information in anyone's face that will listen in hopes that someone punishes her because she deep down feels too guilty to continue on living. And the way they're handling that pairing there, I wasn't really expecting much, but the idea of like starting it off as she talked about sharks and that was enough to hook her in, to then building into that and seeing them super clingy during that conversation in the main hub room, their little office area, I thought it was really nice. Like, this is what's really nice about this show, is whether it's the manager of the bar always sleeping with like a dozen women every other scene, she'll be always talking about something important even though it's sexy fun times. And as we saw with the shower scene, it was kind of like the same thing. If you're gonna have the quote-unquote plot in a show, you best actually have a real plot, and that's actually what Dead Mountain Deathplay is doing a really good job with. And with the cop storyline, I mean, we knew they were gonna be important, but the idea of pretty much building in like, we can't trust some people within the police organization, and you knew it wasn't probably going to be our main duo that we've been following, and seemingly the bald man that he ends up meeting, who honestly felt a little intimidating, like, hey, are you going to be a part of the cog in the wheel? Are you going to keep everything moving smoothly, or are you going to disrupt it? And he's like, sure, I'll be a team player, but you know, it feels like both of them are like waiting for the other to truly mess up before a gun gets drawn, or they try to sabotage the other. So it's nice that everything feels like it's building up quite nicely, and based on the end of the episode with Solitaire saying that he's more or less going to go get his fortune read, I mean, I thought what they were trying to build up originally was that maybe Polka, aka Corpse God, would more or less try to sell maybe Solitaire information for that nice reward, since he does know the symbol from his own world, but instead it seems like Solitaire is going to make his acquaintance with him first, and honestly, as Solitaire being my favorite character, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see where they take that. I mean, if they give me provocative images for a thumbnail, you best bet I'm going to manipulate the algorithm with them, but it doesn't change the fact that the main meat and potatoes of a show like Dead Mountain Deathplay is the fascinating world building between a fantasy reality and a more modern, normal looking reality, and how the uncertainty of like, are people going to and from these worlds more than just Corpse God realizes, which is why some things are real in their world but fantasy in the other, or is it something to do with maybe this isn't actually two split realities but just a different time period of one? Either way, it's a really interesting thought process, and the more I see of these characters, I mean, you casually have assassins who are trying to kill Solitaire, and I'm like, I can't wait to see more of them. This cast is ridiculously large, but every character has an interesting design, an interesting personality, quirk, or trait, and it always has me eager for more. But let me know what you thought, because this was a pretty great episode if you ask me. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more Dead Mountain Deathplay on the channel, and as I mentioned, full live reaction to this wonderful episode is available on my Patreon if you're interested. While you're there, you'll also get a video shout-out. So today we have Rimuru, Jaro, Joshua Wilson, Aaron Lau, and Flippy Napkin. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.